What's going on, guys? MK Tom Brady here. In this video, I got a lot of good feedback on my last video, and a lot of people were saying we really like the longer podcast type of videos. I don't want to go super long, so like in this video, I want to keep it at maybe 45 minutes or shorter. So I'm not going to use all the examples I'd wanted to, otherwise we'd be here for like 2 hours. So first, I want to say, originally when I used to make videos, I was a little too unfair about the game, and I feel like this happens a lot. A lot of people just pile on to the same things. We just become a culture of just a habit of just piling on the game over and over and over again. And I'm going to be talking in this video about the unfairness of an unfair part of the variation system, and I've never talked about this before, so I'm going to talk about it in this video. But first, I want to say, it feels like we never talk about some of the things that the game does well, and we only rip apart what it doesn't do well. The variation system is a great example of this, where all we do is highlight the negative, right? Some characters are just, there's no complete characters because they're split to a third, and a third. Sure. Or there are some useless variations. Of course, sure. But we don't point out when it does something well. Liu Kang, for example, he's a complete character in Variation 1, and he has 2 good utility variations for other matchups if he so chooses to. Cetrion in Variation 2 and 3 are probably complete characters, and Variation 1 can be used as utility. Cabal, I don't know if he has good utility, but the spins is probably a complete variation. Jackie has 3 really good variations. Kung Lao has got 2 really good variations, and the third one that if he wants to use for a little razzle-dazzle, sure, why not? Plenty of instances of characters where the variation system works. Now, there are more instances where it does not work, but when you see the variation system, when you see it at work, you say that's what it was meant to do. That's really good. So it's not like it does everything wrong or everything bad. Where it does what it's designed to do, it really is a good thing. The problem is that I want to talk about is this game was sold on 2 basic cornerstones. Cornerstone 1 was the return to footsies in neutral. Completely false. The way the jumping works in this game, without the really good anti-air options, the way Sub-Zero's slide is, if you look at it from MK9 to now, we see, look at how fast it is now, the travel speed compared to a game like 9. So clearly it's made to be a neutral breaker. Jackie's leap, Gears' sand trap, etc., etc., etc. All neutral breaking. So this is a far cry from the return to footsies that everybody thought they were getting. However, a lot of people put up with stuff. A lot of people like, well, okay, well, I'll deal with this, or I'll deal with that, or I'll deal with a bland variation or a bland character here or there. And this is all opinion as far as the blandness, because like I said, for everyone that says something is boring, there's someone that says something is fun and exciting. So it's all opinion when people say things like this. But a lot of times we put up with stuff because we say, well, at least this is the fair Mortal Kombat. This was billed as this game will be fair. Now, in the tier list, you can't possibly have perfect harmony and balance. No game does. There's always going to be a best character and a worst character. One character is always going to be better than another. That's just how games work. However, you can create precedent for certain types of moves, and this really helps the balance. NetherRealm has done a great job. I want to take a little bit of time out to give them credit one more time. They've done a great job when it comes to launchers. Launchers in NetherRealm games have not always been handled so well. There have been safe launchers, armored launchers, safe armored launchers, which, wow. And there's this pseudo-safe launcher. Well, this launcher is unsafe, but it has multiple devastating follow-ups, so the launcher, while unsafe, is still pretty much safe. And they've realized things like this are unfair, and they pretty much cut all of this out of the game, which is one of the main reasons why this game is billed as it's the fair Mortal Kombat. But we see that this is not always the case. Like Kung Lao has got a launcher that's what I would consider type 1, which is the most egregious type of launchers in the game. A launcher that hits you grounded, that allows for ground combos to which you cannot break away. Now, of course, he can launch you for additional damage, but he can still do damage on the ground to which you cannot break away. But it's got a precedent that was established, right? So when they buffed this variation, they buffed the orbiting hat, but they had a precedent. It's going to cost 1 bar of offense, 1 bar of defense, which means if you use it, especially if you use it multiple times, especially if you get hit while trying to use it, you're not able to break away. If you want to try to double up on it to make it, even though it's unsafe, it's safe. It's negative frames, but it's safe. If you want to try to double it up to try to keep your turn or punish them for taking their turn back, and you get caught, you have 0 offensive bar, 0 defensive bar. Now, if you get hit, you can't break away, and if you get hit, you can't even get up. And then you have limited combos because you don't have amplified spin, and you don't have orbiting hat again. And if you make a mistake, until your bar comes back, if you make a mistake and have to break away, even if you have full offensive bar without your defensive bar, you're not able to use orbiting hat. So it's got things in place to take something like this and make it fair. However, I believe that this was meant to be in the game as some type of tournament variation. Some third variations were kind of just slapped in the game, and they're basically custom moves, and some of them still act like custom moves. Jackie's Shrapnel is one of these moves. So Jackie's Shrapnel is, again, a Type 1 launcher. It's one of the most egregious combo starters in the game. It's a combo starter that leaves the opponent grounded, which means he cannot break away. So Jackie's Shrapnel here basically is a grounded combo starter. It does 24%. If you do 2 shrapnels in a row, it goes to 26%. Now she can also do more damage if she combos into it. This is 28%, guaranteed. You can't break out of it. If you do it like a leap or if a jump in, it does 31%. 31% inescapable. She can also double up her shrapnels in the combo as well. This is 37 off of a jump in, or like I said, if she leaps, she can leap into with from pretty much anywhere on the screen and start it. 37 off a leap jump in or jump in general, and it's only 35 without a jump in. So it can do as much as 35 to 37 guaranteed damage. The thing about this is, now her most optimal I tried yesterday, and I did miss it quite a bit. But things like this, I almost never miss. People say things like this are okay because of the execution. Conal's orbiting hat takes no execution. This is a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10 of execution. Meaning if I took my controller down to the local zoo, I can give it to any chimpanzee and they would get this in 5 minutes and never miss it again. So execution-wise, I think not. So on block, the shrapnel is pretty much a pressure tool and a combo starter. So if you do it on block, so right there, if I had hit him, I go into a full combo. But because he blocked it, I land with the jump and punch, and I go into more pressure. So this is punishable. So why would he block it, right? Well, he would block it because I can do another shrapnel, which is another launcher. She basically uses a launcher into a launcher to make the initial launcher safe. And she has a third option to which, while that's not a launcher, it at least, stops you from punishing the 2 launchers. So she has ways to make this pseudo safe. But of course, she's doing both simultaneously. So, I'm doing a launcher here. Oh, you blocked it. So either whether it's hit or blocked, you're going to get pressure or a combo without having to make a decision of which one you're looking for. And the fact that she can cover her tracks with multiple launchers makes you not want to punish it. So this is something that, now if you happen to hit her out of the air here, because you can jab her out of the air, she has bar to break away, she's going to break away. You get nothing. If she hits you, she gets all this guaranteed grounded damage. So in general, it's already not fair in general in its own situation. But the fact is, of course, she's not taking any defensive resource to do this. If she happens to get hit shortly after this, now she has no way to break out and she can't get off the ground. If she gets hit out of this and now she has defensive resource. If it was used the way Kung Lao has set precedence, she wouldn't be able to get off the ground. She wouldn't be able to break out of the combo. It would make the situation fair. It would make something like this fair. Also, she does little tricks like, while you're waiting for the bar to come back, right? Or while you're waiting for her to use her next bar, say you don't want to attack because you think she's going to shrapnel again. She can use stuff like this to kind of waste time. So she can use multiple resources here to kind of throw you off. This wouldn't be possible if the shrapnel, like Kung Lao's, took both 1 bar of offense and 1 bar of defense. This would, again, make it very, very fair. The fact that she doesn't have that is kind of like, is what causes this to be unfair. And the thing is, the precedent was already established. Things like this are okay. This is a launcher. This is devastating. Oh, by the way, while I said you can jab her out of this, she can come down with 2, 1, or 3/4. Now, the thing about this is, some characters in the game can't punish all 3 simultaneously. So they have to do something different for 2, something different for 1, and something different for 3/4. So not only you have to decide how many launchers in a row she's going to do, but then you have to decide which attack she's going to land with. So for those characters, it's even doubly unfair. And the fact that she does all this while keeping her defensive resource. So if she does this, she still has plenty of bar to leap in from across the screen, has bar to do stuff like this, and has bar to kind of leap away to like, okay, let me get out of here, right? And she also has bar to get up off the ground, break away, etc. Now, someone out there is going to say, well, Kung Lao still is whatever. It's not really governed. I'm going to go over exactly why Kung Lao's is fair. Now, people may say, Kung Lao's strong enough, but he's not unfair. So, we're going to go over a couple of irritating things people don't like. For one, they don't like how he does... Oh, by the way, I forgot to bring this up. Jackie can vary the height of her shrapnel. She can do an attack into a maximum height shrapnel. So the maximum height the shrapnel will connect. Not only doing it this height does it still link off the string and allow her to continue the combo, but if you block and try to flawless block it from that height, you're up to completely whiffs, and then she still lands and combos you. So, and also the shrapnel allows her to circumvent the wake-up system by doing option selects by jumping and doing a shrapnel amplify, and then if you roll forward or backward, she still lands on you, and if you get up in place, she still lands on you and gets pressure or a combo. So it does multiple things. Kung Lao gets kind of irritating because, of course, he can do stuff like this, right? Down 1, orbiting hat. Down 3, orbiting hat. Now the thing is, you can punish that. Same thing with down 3. Now he can do this, right, to stop you from trying to take your turn back, and you get punished. But he also launched him. And I just recently started practicing this because I got tired of complaining about it, so I figured I would lab it and work on the practice. Even in real gameplay, as of the last few days, I've been pretty proficient at doing this, at punishing this consistently when I make the read. So what happens here is, even if whether he does 1 or 2, we'll just stay with the 2 for now, just so I can show the... So, and I can get this almost every time. I've practiced it quite a bit. So now, not only is he going to get comboed, but he has no bar. See, he has no offensive, no defensive resource. So for one, Kung Lao cannot now, he can't escape the combo. And then if I knock him down, he can't even get off the ground well, because he doesn't have roll, up 3, up 2, none of that stuff, right? So he's at my complete mercy. Even when he gets up, he doesn't have any bar for orbiting hat. And he also doesn't have any resource to extend his combos, like with using amplified spin to keep the combo going for more damage. So he's in a pretty bad spot here. Even things like, people see Kung Lao using this string quite a bit. This right here, can make it whiff by doing it. Sub-Zero is the only one that can't make it whiff, so I'm not really well practiced in doing this. But you can make it whiff by, trying to block it, high and low, in the middle, and you can make the last hit whiff. Again, I'm not too experienced with this because Sub-Zero really can't do this. But there's a way to make it the orbiting hat whiff, and every character but Sub-Zero can make the orbiting hat miss. Although I'm not exactly sure. There we go. Okay, so either way, once you get used to that, it's pretty easy to do once you know how to do it. It happens all the time. It's a full combo punish. And of course, he doesn't have the bar to break away. If he tries to make it safe, or not do it, this is unsafe. It's minus 19. So just so you can see the frame data here. Minus 19. Also, you can flawless block and punish that. And if he tries to straight hat, to stop you from punishing that, this also is unsafe at minus 14. So there's really he's got a lot of limitations by using orbiting hat. He's got punishment for it. And if he uses it and he gets caught, it's a problem. And if he tries to double up on it, he still gets caught and he still gets punished. Again, it is safe on block. So outside of stuff that like if you were to do like this, right? It's minus 4, but you get your turn back. If he does 2 of these, you still get your turn back. Right, it's minus 2. But it's still your turn. Now the thing about this is, you don't have to worry about flawless block here at minus 2 because he has no bar. So we can't up 2, up 3, or nothing, right? He also, again, if he gets caught, can't break away, can't get off the ground, can't orbiting hat again, nothing. He's limited. Also, if he does stuff like this, he can't throw his hat, right? Well, because his hat is not on his head. So anything that looks like a hat toss, you can just jump. And Scorpion, a bunch of characters get full combo punishes off this. You can probably do more than that. Sub-Zero, I do back 1 because the axe doesn't have a hurt box, goes right through it. But if you're Dead of Winter, you get a guaranteed shoulder crushing blow. Probably do forward 2-4 crushing blow, counter hit, slide, whatever. But things like this pretty much make Kung Lao's orbiting hat fair. It's got limitations. It limits him in multiple ways. Jackie has no limitation whatsoever. Literally, the precedent that was established by the orbiting hat that says this is what makes this type of move fair, Jackie has a move that's even better, although it's the same type of move, and it doesn't obey the precedent that's already set. Hey, this is fair because if Kung Lao's orbiting hat didn't use defensive bar, it would not be fair. I want to go on to Cetrion really quick. First, I want to touch on spring cleaning really quickly. The weird thing about this is there are teleports in this game that are like Cetrion's, like the disappear and the materialize behind you, Raiden, Scarlet, etc. But Raiden's teleport is more unsafe, and Scarlet's teleport is massively more unsafe than Cetrion. She by far has the safest teleport in the game. And despite all that, they can't teleport in the air because that would be unfair. But Cetrion can. And she has air moves that she can do. So if you're looking for something like this to punish it, and she does this, she's going to end up, surprising you. Because you've got to hold block to punish to be able to block this. Right? And it's really hard to discern between that and teleport. And this teleport in the air is still more unsafe than Scarlet's teleport. It's still safer, not more unsafe. It's still safer than like Scarlet's grounded teleport or Raiden's grounded teleport. And she's doing an airborne and mixing up air attacks off of it. Just to be one of the chosen ones in this game is a huge advantage. You get benefits. Like, why wouldn't it at least be more unsafe? Why wouldn't this be like minus Scarlet teleport territory? No, it's still super safe. It's just same thing as the ground teleport, only it can be done airborne, and she has airborne options to really make you think twice about looking for the teleport. Then her Born Again variation was kind of buff. This is kind of an interesting variation. She has this tornado move. Safe on block. On hit, the regular version is +2. So unless you have a 6-frame down 1, you cannot interrupt her down 1, or she can throw you. If you interrupt her down 1 and you're wrong, and she hits you, she's +10. She can yell you with 1/1. Forward 2 is uninterruptible, or she can throw you again off of that if you respect the options. The amplified version is +10, so you're jailed into her 1/1. Can't interrupt the mid, and you have a throw mix-up as well. So this is really, really good because she can do, a couple of things where, she, hits you with the amplify, version, and say you don't respect her option, she can do it again, and say you don't respect it again, she can do it again. Then she down 1s, right? And then say you finally respect it, and you get thrown. And this is obviously worst case scenario, but these scenarios do exist. And this is fine. I don't have a problem with any of this. Because this is, of certain strings, you can't really, it's, again, safe on block. So of certain strings, put on flawless block here. So you can't flawless block it here. You can't flawless block it here. But of stuff like this, you can flawless block. You can just interrupt her. So you can flawless block it. You can down one her, combo her out of it. So there are plenty of situations where she doesn't get that guaranteed, and you can poke her, hit her out of it. But I'm comparing her here to Avalanche Sub-Zero because her 1/1 is a high, right? Much like Sub-Zero's back 1, only this obviously doesn't have the range of back 1, but it's got really good range. Look at where I'm at right now. This is pretty far, and it still makes contact. So 1/1 is still pretty good, and she's got a 14 frame mid here. Okay, she can do it off of. So very similar to Avalanche with he uses the overhead, but she has a mid, she has a high, and other stuff, but we're not going to get into all the strings here. So in general, so when they block, you can use the tornado here, keep yourself safe. Now she also has her other toolkit. This is a good zoning tool. Also, she can use that in conjunction with her other stuff, and she has boulder, she has this, etc. So for one, you don't need to waste meter on hit or block because you can confirm even a single hit. So, see, I'm able to use the bar there. I don't use the bar there because I could confirm the single hit into the tornado and amplify it, so I always get the +10. I don't have to waste the offensive bar guessing if it hit or not. 1/1 is also simultaneously hit and block confirmable. So if you're looking for a little more damage, on hit, you get this, and on block, you tornado. So 1/1 is simultaneously hit and block confirmable. So you don't always have the tornado. You can actually get a little more damage. Now, anytime she does a tornado, off certain attacks or certain strings, you can't flawless block it, you can't jump out of it, you can't interrupt it. And stuff like this, 15, let's just do it off this. 15 again. I don't know what the combo is off this, right? But, I'm not really sure what the damage is off that. I'm pretty sure she would, I'm not really sure what she would do off of it, to be honest with you. But either way, she gets more damage than Avalanche Sub-Zero does. Avalanche Sub-Zero, off his overhead, gets only 13, and off the low, he can't even do it off the low. But off the low, because you can get out of it. But, he gets, if you want to say guaranteed damage, 25 guaranteed. Well, not really even guaranteed. And if you want to go more damage, this is without crushing blows, obviously. He gets 28. So, of course, you can break out of that, though. But off the overhead, it's only when the creeping ice hits, right? So he's got a low, but again, the overhead version doesn't do much damage, and when it hits, he doesn't get anything off. It doesn't get any setup. Only in the corner, right? No combo, no nothing. Not even in the corner. No setup, no nothing. You're not far away, etc. Now, people may say do Arctic Trap, but you can actually get up and just go right through that and hit him. Most characters can from range. People aren't used to seeing it. Like as a Sub-Zero player, whenever I see Arctic Trap, I usually slide it as long as I'm in this range. I can slide it before it becomes active. So it's not a guaranteed Arctic Trap situation. But it does less than Cetrion's. Less damage, less everything. No setup, you're not stuck next to him, etc. And some characters can just jump right out of it. Like Cetrion, for example, can... You know, if I do the same thing like off the high string, a lot of characters only 2 characters can jump out of this, Cetrion being one of them. And of course, if I stop it short and try to block, I can't, it's not safe. And I'm not going to go over all these situations, but just in general, we know how Creeping Ice is. You can flawless block it. Most characters can just go right through it or flawless block it. They have some way to jump it, go through it, or punish it in some way, shape, or form. Which, of course, people say, oh, just play Dead of Winter. Yeah, of course, that's right, because Dead of Winter and Avalanche in a lot of situations carry the same amount of risk, only Dead of Winter gives it the better output. Only, why would, now people say, oh, well, you know, Sub-Zero, Arctic Trap, good luck getting near him, and then it is significantly harder to approach Cetrion than it is Sub-Zero. Arctic Trap or no Arctic Trap, there is no one that will ever actually convince anyone that it's easier to approach, that it's harder to approach Avalanche Sub-Zero than it is Cetrion. So I don't want to hear that nonsense. The same type of move meant to do the same type of thing. Only in one, you can't go through it, you can't flawless block it, all the hitboxes are zipped up, etc. Right? There's no little buggy things wrong with it. And except for when it comes to Sub-Zero, might as well just play Variation 1 because this thing has a whole bunch of weird stuff. Characters go right through it. So, like I said, I don't want to keep this too long. And I could literally make 10 videos like this about all kind of different characters where a precedent is set in one area and not obeyed in the other. But this is what makes the game unfair. It doesn't establish any type of consistency. You have some characters who have chosen variations, chosen characters that are just chosen to do, you know, whatever. And they make sure that those things work right. Jackie and Cetrion are just 2 examples of 2 characters in the top 5. And when they put something in, those things are 100% working not only properly, but they seem to be immune to a lot of the other precedences set in place to make things like this fair. Or they say, well, let's not let something buggy happen to this, like this character over here. And this is what causes the problem, more discrepancy in the tier list and in the balance, is that in situations that games are designed to be fair, within the way moves like X, Y, or Z are dealt with, are not consistently dealt with the same manner from character to character in this game. And I mean, when it comes to a launcher, I mean, yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this video. Like I said, I don't really want to go on for 2 hours on stuff like this or make a video showing every individual example, because I promise you there are a lot more than 2 or 3 that I could get into. And this is the real reason why we see like stuff that looks unfair, like the tier list, etc. Not because the characters per se are imbalanced. Like Jackie, not that she's imbalanced, but there are safeguards in place, the way the game deals with things like this, that they just say, you know what, you just go on, skate through, we're not going to put those safeguards in. So that's pretty much how I feel. I'm hoping that these things get addressed in this game. If not, we have another MK game, and hopefully they get addressed there. Thanks for watching, everybody, and stay tuned for more content.